The biting wind whipped around Edward and Anne as they stood at the canyon's edge. The vast landscape stretched endlessly before them. On the distant western side, the ancient ruin appeared as a tiny, almost insignificant shape. Edward felt a wave of doubt, but his determination remained strong. This was his ancestors' legacy, and he would not fail. Anne moved closer to the cliff face, her sharp blue eyes scanning the rough rock. She ran a gloved hand along a crevice, testing its stability. "There's no safe way down from here, Edward," she stated, her voice practical. "The rock is too unstable, and the drops are sheer." Her assessment was quick and certain, identifying their immediate problem. Edward nodded, understanding Anne's practical judgment. He carefully unrolled the unfinished atlas, its old pages rustling softly. His brow furrowed in concentration as he turned each delicate sheet. He hoped his ancestor, the original surveyor, had faced this same obstacle. Edward searched for a hidden solution, a path only a cartographer would know. Suddenly, Edward's finger stopped on a page. He pointed to a faint, almost hidden drawing on the map. It depicted a narrow, winding path descending the canyon wall. Beneath it, a small, elegant script read, "The Serpent's Stair." A spark of hope ignited, mixed with a cautious sense of intrigue. Anne leaned over, studying the map detail. She then looked up, her gaze sweeping towards the northern horizon. A slow nod confirmed her agreement. "It's our only chance, Edward," she stated, her voice firm. "Let's find this stair." With renewed purpose, they began walking along the canyon rim. After a short but challenging trek, they located the path's entrance. It was exactly as the map described, a series of crumbling stone steps. These steps were carved directly into the sheer cliff face. The ancient stonework looked incredibly dangerous and unstable. Both Edward and Anne felt a deep sense of apprehension. Anne, with her usual caution, took the lead. She tested each step carefully before putting her full weight on it. Edward followed closely behind, his hand often touching the cold rock wall for balance. Their descent was slow and tense, requiring constant focus. They relied on each other's presence in the dangerous situation. Suddenly, the path ended abruptly. They reached a wide gaping hole where the stone steps had completely collapsed. The other side of the path was about 10 feet away. Below them, there was only a sheer, terrifying drop into the canyon. An immediate sense of alarm washed over both of them. Without a moment's hesitation, Anne acted. She removed a coil of rope and a grappling hook from her pack. Her movements were fluid and practiced. With a powerful, expert throw, she sent the hook flying across the gap. It secured firmly on a rock outcrop on the other side. Her confidence was clear. Anne took a deep breath and began to cross the gap. Her movements were efficient and graceful as she pulled herself along the rope. Once safely on the other side, she looked back and gestured for Edward to follow. He looked at the swaying rope with clear anxiety. This was a challenge to his personal fears. Edward Finch, pale and focused, gripped the thick rope. He refused to look down into the vast canyon below. Each movement was slow and deliberate. He concentrated only on his hands, pulling himself forward. Finally, he reached the other side, collapsing onto solid ground. He breathed heavily, feeling both exhausted and deeply relieved. As they continued their descent, Edward's keen eyes noticed something. Strange geometric symbols were carved into the ancient canyon wall. They seemed to follow a pattern. He paused, his curiosity piqued. Pulling out his personal journal, Edward meticulously began to sketch the intricate markings. He felt a surge of academic excitement. Suddenly, a deep tremor shook the cliff face beneath their feet. Edward stumbled, losing his balance. Small rocks and dust began to dislodge and fall from above. Anne Barlow's head snapped up, her blue eyes wide with alarm. "Edward, look out!" she shouted, her voice sharp with warning. The ground continued to rumble ominously. Without a moment's hesitation, Anne shoved Edward with surprising force. He tumbled forward, landing awkwardly under a rocky overhang. Just as he cleared the spot, a cascade of large stones crashed down. They landed exactly where Edward had been standing moments before. Dust billowed around them. Edward stared, terrified and immensely grateful for Anne's quick action. After the danger passed, they continued their careful descent. Finally, they reached the bottom of the immense canyon. The air here was damp and cool, and deep shadows clung to the walls. The ancient ruin, their ultimate goal, was now clearly visible. It stood high above them on the opposite cliff face. They felt weary, but a sense of accomplishment settled over them. They began to walk along a wide, dry riverbed. Their path led directly toward the base of the opposite cliff. Weathered stone markers, almost swallowed by time, appeared along the way. Edward recognized them from his ancestors' notes. These ancient guides confirmed they were on the correct track. A renewed sense of hope filled them as they pressed on. Their hopeful path abruptly ended at a massive stone gate. It was set directly into the sheer cliff face. The gate was completely sealed, a solid, unyielding barrier. There was no visible handle, no lock, no obvious way to open it. Edward felt a wave of frustration wash over him. However, the mystery of it also intrigued him deeply. Edward stepped closer, examining the imposing gate. He recognized the same intricate geometric symbols he had sketched earlier. They covered the gate's ancient surface. His gaze then fell upon a large circular indentation in its very center. It seemed to be a keyhole, but for no key he had ever seen. His analytical mind immediately began to work on the puzzle. Edward quickly pulled out the unfinished atlas. He flipped through its aged pages, his fingers tracing familiar lines. He soon found a drawing of the very gate before them. Beneath it, his ancestors' elegant script read, "The mechanism does not answer to a hand, but to the sun's gaze." A sudden understanding dawned on him. Anne looked at him, awaiting his explanation. As the sun began its slow descent, a brilliant beam of light appeared. It originated from a specific rock formation high across the canyon. The beam moved slowly, steadily, a golden finger of light. It crept across the canyon, aiming directly for the circular indentation. Edward and Anne watched, breathless with anticipation. The light was about to touch the gate.
Si te gustó el video, pon me gusta, suscríbete y activa la campanita para no perderte la próxima parte.